Good morning, everyone. So, 10 a.m. on a Monday. It is, when is it? Blur's Day. No, Monday, July 13th. And here with another Water Tiger for Sachem, which is, yes, for Sachem, but also for a bunch of other people. So, this is Lao Shi Lawrence McElroy from Water Tiger School of Taijiquan. And we have for you this morning on Facebook Live a little warm up. We've been, well, last week we did something from T'ai Chi Qigong. We've been weaving it into our warm ups over the last 2,000 months. And we'll give you another one this morning. We do our best to keep them different, and so far we've been successful. Same with the t shirts. Running out of t shirts though. Either have to tap into some that I don't normally wear in class or start rehashing some that I've worn at other times. So anyway, so there you are. I did not, unfortunately, take the time this morning to check and see where Sachem may have been with their reopening process. I did look yesterday or Saturday. I think it was Saturday. And they had yet set a date for their phase 3, which is a partial reopening of the physical space. Their phase 4 is a beginning to allow in-person programs with social distancing rules applying. I would imagine, due to the governor's withholding the reopening of gyms and recreational facilities, that any physical exercise programs in the library will not reopen until the governor and the state allow for gyms and recreational facilities to reopen, which again means my studio. Water Tiger has not opened the studio yet. So there is that. And I think that's about it news-wise, and not a lot else going on. So the YouTube channel is still going. As I've been announcing, we're actually uploading the old live sessions on a weekly basis as our primary content builder on the YouTube channel at this point, because it was established for those folks who were in like the Sachem program, West Babylon program, etc., that weren't on Facebook. So the thought process, is that they would not have seen these live sessions. But we also do throw up original content. There's a little 20-minute thing we posted last Thursday on the ritual of the salute, the bowing in the Chinese martial arts. So anyway, so that's there now. I guess nobody said good morning yet, so I'm assuming there's at least, one person out there. If that's what, I think I'm looking at the person counter. So anyway, so there's that. I can ramble on for a while. I could always do, there are some other folks who are doing Facebook Live in, sort of a home alone together presentation that set up their live sessions on a schedule. So the live session just starts. And we clocked one that Tony Horton was doing yoga on Saturday. And the camera was on and recording an empty yoga mat for like almost 8 minutes. It was between 7 and 8 minutes before Mr. Horton even made an appearance. I'm not going to do that. I think it's sort of interesting, but I'm not going to do that. So, oh, there's somebody. Oh, I need to see my glasses. My eyes are a little blurry this morning. Helen, hello. Rich, hello. So, we're going to get started. What we are going to do today, aside from the warm-up, is a non-traditional two-posture walking exercise. We're going to take two postures that normally aren't put together as a walking exercise. They come together in a form, and it actually goes back to what our focus was last week. Last week, we focused our little workshop on the different transitions from different lineages between the third parting the wild horse's mane in the 24 posture form and white crane spreads its wings. So this week, we're going to take horse's mane, third horse's mane, and white crane, and turn it into a walking exercise where you can actually do a linear walking exercise with these two postures. It also combines an element of something that we did way back. I need to check on the date. I think it was, yes, May 5th, for a live session that was for our West Babylon Public Library folks, and of course the greater community, that was playing what we refer to as playing to the right or playing to the other side. Because normally we open a form, say the 24, because that's sort of what our focus is here, and we've dropped the weight into the right, which is why some people will call this actually playing to the right instead of playing to the left, but our first main step is to the left. So as we play through, our first parting the wild horse's mane is to the left, which means our third parting the wild horse's mane is to the left, right? And then moving into white crane, we come up, we form the ball, we move through high press, the double brush of the knee, and we have white crane. So were we to reverse that, that means the last parting the wild horse's mane is in what we would refer to as a right four stance. We turn to the right, we come up to the upper left, we double brush the knee, and we're in the opposite position for white crane. So what we're going to do is experiment with that, because it has to be done to switch back and forth between the two sides to make it a walking exercise. So you get a little double whammy. You get to practice the transition between horse's mane 3 and white crane. You get to practice those ends of postures, the degree of comfort with the transitional moments and the ends of postures and that sort of thing. I think I said that once. And you get to sort of mess with your head a little bit by playing to, shall we say, the opposite side. So that's where we're headed this morning. But we are going to start with a warm-up. So feet about shoulder wide. I think somebody else popped in. I'm just going to see who it was. Yeah, hi, Colette. I bet when we upload these videos to YouTube, that looks kind of weird that I'm saying hi to people. But they are marked as Facebook Live sessions. And we don't do any editing. We just throw them up there. Because we're lazy that way. Shake stuff out. Breathe, relax, and release. So you may not know this, but aside from the Facebook page for Water Tiger School, there's also a Facebook page for moi, for Lao Shi Lawrence McElroy. And my post this morning was, I don't know, sort of heavy, sort of light, sort of funny. Funny in a dark sense, because what I did was I cited, I'm going to do just some turning while I ramble on, let some people join us. Cited a social media post that I saw when I first got up this morning. The person posted, she and her husband were finding the news so, can't remember what language she used, but something, and not stress-inducing, but something like that, stress-inducing, that they decided they'd watch The Shining to relax. Get the dark humor there. And my response was, yeah, I can sort of relate to that, but thank goodness I have, Tai Chi and Tai Chi classes and presentations. That's sort of what reduces my stress. So anyway, there you go. So our Tai Chi Qigong this morning, last week, just FYI, what we did was eagle attacks its prey. So there was a forward and back undulation that drove an extension sort of toward the center line, and for our approach to eagle attacks its prey, there's a little talon moment, just a little focus on the tips of the fingers of the digits at that point. Boom. And that's the pattern. And if you have a shoulder impingement, you can come in more from the sides. So what we're going to do is take something away and add something. The name of this posture from the stationary family of Tai Chi Qigong, from the primary and coiling sets of stationary Tai Chi Qigong, we're going to do lion rotates a ball. Now, unlike the eagle, where we sort of just have that moment where there are talons, there's no lion paw here, there are no claws. And we do one side at a time. And we add a rotation with the undulation. So to throw the arm up and out to roll the ball, right? Rotate the ball, I suppose I should say. You'll notice that not only Am I undulating forward? I'm twisting forward. So if I'm extending the right hand out, I'm turning into the left side. Pulling it back by not only turning back, but also undulating back. And then going to the other side, extending forward toward the center line, pulling back, and switching back and forth between the sides. So you want to get both the undulation and the rotation to help with the movement. It is Tai Chi Qigong, and if you know Water Tiger, you know Water Tiger infuses the movement and the breath with one another. So ideally, we can't tell if the breath is generating the movement or the movement is generating the breath, because yes, excuse me. So, and I think I should also tell you that Sasha, aka the cute thing of evil, is sort of whining at the door, so if it gets too obsessive, I'm going to have help this morning in my little workshop. We'll see. Other little shake, no expectation. We'll breathe into it. The position to which we are going to breathe to begin the exercise will be the arms are floating. We're going to inhale, and the hands are going to float into this position. And we maintain throughout what are known as delicate lady hand, beautiful lady hand, just that nice, slight cupping. A few breaths. It's all right with these first cleansing breaths that if we hear them, when we get into the movement, we want that nice, soft, relaxed, quiet breath. I will suggest the breath pattern with the movement, but if you have a different breath pattern, that's okay, just as long as the movement is part of the breath and the breath is part of the movement. To begin our first repetition and the sequence, we're going to do 6 to 9 pairs. So 12 to 24 total repetitions. We might want to find an exhalation. For an inhalation, draws the hands up, and an exhalation creates that first extension. An inhalation, undulating back, rotating back, and an exhalation over to the other side. Someone in the studio class, we were doing the set that we put together of a bunch of these exercises we've been doing over the last few months, suggested that the reason that the lion doesn't extend its claws as it's rotating the ball is that when it was playing with the ball the day before, it did use its claws and the ball popped. So the lion doesn't want to pop the ball again. I have not been counting at all. Feels like probably about the 5th round. Might be more, might be less. Oops. I always forget the fans back there. Undulating back, let's get that hand started, then forward. Inhale becomes an exhale as you're arcing up over the top. 6 and 6. You go to 9, or what I'm guessing is 9. Might be short of 9, might be over 9. But it's 9-ish. Let's call it 9-ish. So a couple more pairs, just for good measure. So one more, since it's the last pair, let's make it the prettiest pair. Up and over, still sort of arcing back, and then over the top on the exhalation, right to your center line. And in, and last to the second side. And this time in, knowing we won't go back over the top. So the exhalation this time turns us forward. Turns the palms down, left to the left, right to the right. I always look a little tilted on this camera because of where the device is seated, sort of the angle I have to shoot. We have to shoot to not share so much of my house. And there you go. Lion rotates the ball from the stationary family of Tai Chi Qigong from the primary and coiling sets of that branch of that family. So anyway, there you go. A little energy work for you. That's sort of almost literally what Qigong, how it translates energy, Qi, Gong, work, or skill. Some people translate it as skill. But anyway, all right. So there are some things you need to know for the walking exercise. Sort of gave a preview at the first, and those postures, those, if you will, end of posture moments, and then the transitional moments as well. Right, so in the original side, in other words, how we would play it in our regular 24, and this is, again, it's Water Tiger School's approach to that transition. Last week we gave you 3 different options as to how different lineages might approach that transition from the third Parting Wild Horse's mane into White Crane. But our Parting Wild Horse's mane, again, we're shoulder wide. Right? Shoulder width is determined by where the heels are. I taped out the blue lines just to sort of point out width is side to side. And it's not, doesn't have anything to do with forward and back. That's length. Right? So length is determined by where you can have your feet shoulder wide and step at least slightly forward. So I'm in 4 stance now. I haven't even stepped the length of half of the length of my foot. Right? I'm still shoulder wide. I'm still shoulder wide. Doesn't matter where that foot is. As soon as my left foot comes off of that blue line, I ain't shoulder wide anymore. Right? So determined by where the heels are. Drop of shoulder, not outside of the delt, nowhere on the top, on the trapezius muscle, in the trap, or in the lufarino muscle. But right at that initial decline, splits that heel in half. Turn out that foot to around the 45. That's where it needs to be. Now, some people will say ideally, well, not ideally, they will say it has to be the 45. I say ideally the 45 because you may have some flexibility issues, some structure issues, and you may have to have your foot on a little bit different angle. And that's okay, but the 45 is ideal. The other foot, when we're in 4 stance, again, it just means it's forward. Toes should be pointing right straight forward. Right? They can also be in this position, where you don't want your toes in this position with the hips square, shoulders square, about 70% of the weight on the back, on the front foot, about 30 on the back heel driving down and back. The outside of the instep is on the ground. You don't want your toes out and in that direction because your knee will still want to go forward. That puts shearing pressure on the outside of the knee and compression pressure on the inside, and that is not good. So toes forward or in, hips square. That's the lower body for Parting Wild Horse's mane. Now in a left 4 stance, my left foot is forward, my left hand. See, pretty good camera angle here because that center of my palm is right in front of the center of my chest, right in front of the center of that sort of dragon tattoo emblem on my t-shirt. Right? It's not down at the solar plexus level. Right? It's not up between my shoulders. It's right at the center of the chest. And the elbow is slightly dropped, right? It's not out here. It's definitely not up. And it's just right. Just like porridge, just like a chair. Goldilocks principle. Right? Shoulder is dropped. I'm not in too close. There's not too big of bend on the elbow. I'm not overextended, right? But right, just in the right spot. On the other hand, notice you can still see my right hand at this camera angle because it's in the front plane of my body. And it's palm down, fingertips forward. And that's the end of posture of Parting the Wild Horse's mane. So were I to do that to the other side, same setup. Only now it's my right foot that's going to be out around the 45. We'll see how that holds this morning. If you've been paying attention, if you've been here since March 23rd or before, if you've been in the program, you know I have bunch of screws in my left ankle and top of foot. So sometimes it can be at the 45, sometimes it can't. Same thing, doesn't matter left or right, the toes should be forward or in. Still 70-30, back heel, down, back instep, down. I don't want to roll to that instep on the inside of the instep. Hips are square. My left hip is right to the left wall of my training area. The right hip is right to, well, it's way over there. You don't want to see everything that's between the training area and the right wall of my townhouse's basement. Boom. Square. If I had a plane of my torso based on the front of the two shoulders in front of the two hips, that flat plane would be parallel to the plane of the direction I am facing. And here now the right hand is right in the center of my chest. The left hand is sort of dribbling that basketball. Notice there's a little opening underneath that arm, just as there's a little opening underneath that arm. That's a right parting the whole wild horse's mane. And then the other posture, I'm not really closing because I'm just doing a static position here. White crane cools, not cools, sorry, this is white crane spreads its wings. White crane cools her wings is something we do in the Tai Chi Qigong breathing set. Now I tend to, and actually within the context of the first direction, I'm going to be over on, no, I was right the first time, over on this side. Over on this side. I'll get it right. Yes. So my position generally, so the lines work for me. The lines may not work for you because some people have a little width between their feet, and that's okay. I don't dictate, in our lineage, we don't really dictate where that foot goes. We don't want it wide. Some people do teach white crane, that this is really crane stance. Have that, but I don't like that opening in the groin, so I always move it closer, and I tend to, when that foot comes down for me, the ball of the foot, the toes, tend to rest in alignment with the back heel. But that might be too tight for some people, so you might be inside. And if you're inside at this point, then these lines are negated, because when I do the transition, you'll see when we get there, my feet are going to be in a different location. But that's the lower body. It's called an empty stance or a false stance. All the weight should be in, not on, in the back leg. The ball of the foot's just resting. The knee is open. So I'm not reaching and straightening the leg. It's not locked. The knee is open. And that's the lower body. If my right leg is weighted, right hand is up, palm forward. Notice the opening in the arm. Left hand is down, palm back. And that's white crane. In the original direction, with the weight on the right leg. In the other direction, weight is on the left leg. Same thing, my hips are square. I didn't say that over on that side. Now my weight's on my left leg. My right foot is forward. Ball of the foot, no weight, knee slightly opened. Left leg is weighted, left hand is up. Right arm is down. And that's white crane. Breathe and hang out and be in the leg, not on the leg. If you're on the leg, you have a high center of gravity. You want to set down into that leg. So, boom. Yeah, I'm going to see if somebody's posting something. Dun, 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 dun. Cool, okay. I like it when people say cool. So thanks, Rich. So those are the postures. Now there are two transitional moments within this sequence that you also need to, shall we say, get. And the movements within them themselves are also difficult because we move from, if we get into our left parting wild horse's mane, so the left foot is forward, 70-30, left hand is up. When we initially teach this transition, we just say you keep dropping your weight into your left foot, but it gets a little bit more complicated. There is a process in Tai Chi referred to as Qian Si, silk reeling, and it involves, sort of three-dimensional movement, three-directional movement, three-dimensional movement. I was right the first time. Threading the nine-hole pearl, there's twisting. And Water Tiger's Young style has more twisting energy, more Tian-Si than a traditional Young style, and especially large frame Young style. We're medium frame. So what I eventually, yes, I can just drop the weight in, but that's very two-dimensional. And I want the three dimensions. So there's a twist in the body, and that twist, like wringing out a washcloth, forms a ball on this side. And I bring that back foot, the right foot in, and it's at a 45-degree angle based on the front foot. So were I to get out of my way, you can see that foot's at a 45, but the heel's in the air. And I've formed a ball. Now from there, I twist, right heel down, left heel up, twisting only on the ball of the left foot. High press is the next one. So we have form the ball and high press. And high press is, this is press later on in the form, only in a different stance. I'm just raising slightly because high press isn't height, high press is angle. And notice that I'm about at my chin height, so it's as if I'm coming up under my shadow opponent's chin. And that's high press. On that side, into a double brush of the knee. If you can raise the knee high enough to actually get the left hand on the left of the knee and the right hand on the right of the knee, great. And then you open the wings into white crane spreads its wings. It's fine. There are folks who have some balance challenges when they first come to Tai Chi, and they may have to do something like that. So I just, on this surface, bare feet, I sort of dribbled that foot out there, as opposed to move it through the air. Can also, it's hard for me in bare feet on this surface to sort of slide, but you can also slide the foot into that position. So that's on that side. On the other side, same thing, right? You're in your last parting the wild horse's mane. Now I twist, have that Tian-Si, that silk reeling, that English, like you're putting English on a pool ball or a ping pong ball. Boom. Brings the right hand to the top of the ball, the left hand to the bottom. My left foot's at the 45. I come up, angled to the left side, drop the hands, raise the knee. I'm in white crane on this side. So again, here, 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 there, and boom. And then now, I think I've gone far enough, I'm going to do a little casual close. The transition between the two. I have been on a thing for the last few months about how we really shouldn't spend time comparing how things are similar to one another, because they are, but we should really embrace each movement's uniqueness, because even though there are similarities, each thing is unique. However, we take our transition from one side to the other from aspects of how Water Tiger manifests moving into the first brush knee out of this sequence. So what we talk about as we move through this sequence, get to white crane, is we have that turn deep into the left, or as deep as you can over to the left. And when we come back to the right, when that left hand passes that left knee, it's as if it's a Fulton skyhook, and it picks up that knee to bring it in to then brush the knee, step, and strike. So when that left hand gets there, it brings that leg in, you brush, knee, step, and I'm out of space, so I'm not stepping. Shoulder wide, boom, like that. So we take that into consideration. And I move through my sequence in the walking exercise. I go to the left. When I come back to the right, my left hand gets to my left foot. I switch from the ball of the foot to the heel. I pivot into my right side. Left hand goes down, right hand comes up. Pivoting on the heel of the left foot, right hand goes to the bottom of the ball. Left hand comes to the top of the ball. And I'm forming my ball to take the step and go into parting the wild horse's mane on the other side. I'm sure you all got that, so there's no need to review it. Ha! So, again, I'm going to get another drink. Sorry. It's Monday. I'm thirsty. I don't know why. Already had half of my usual water bottle of water this morning, plus 2 cups of Lapsang Souchong. So over here, boom, up here, I just want to get to White Crane. Right here, turning to the left. You know, some of you won't have that kind of mobility, you'll be more out in front, and that's okay. You know, range of motion is range of motion. It's neither good nor bad, it's simply what it is. And we learn to move within it and hope, maybe, to increase it as time goes by. Thank you. So I twist over to the left. When I come back to the right, left hand gets to the left knee. It switches, the left foot switches from the ball of the foot to the heel. I pivot on that heel, turning relatively deep into the right. Left hand swings down, right hand swings up, pivoting back on that left heel, getting the foot to around the 45. As I fill the left foot, left hand goes to the top. As I fill the foot, left hand goes to the, as I fill the foot, left hand goes to the top of the ball. Right hand to the bottom, forming the ball. And I have Parting the Wild Horses. One more time for the pin. Oops, let me just get into White Crane. Oops, sorry. Boom. Confusing myself this morning. Confusion is the first step to the realization that you still have much to learn. Confucius say that. Well, Confucius is said to have said that. Over to the left, back to the right, left hand passes the left knee, switching to the left heel from the left ball of the foot, left hand down, right hand up, right hand down, left hand up. Settling the weight into the left foot, forming the ball, stepping, and Parting the Wild Horses. And casual closing. So that's side one. Side two, I'm in White Crane here. Now I'm going to turn as deep as I can into the right, come back to the left. When the right hand passes the right knee, the right ball of the foot becomes the right heel. I pivot a little bit deeper into the left side. Right hand down, left hand up. Rotate, pivot on the heel of the right foot. Right hand to the top of the ball as I'm filling the right foot. Left hand to the bottom of the ball as I'm emptying the left foot, forming the ball, hopefully not falling over like Lawrence just did. Parting the Wild Horses mane to the other side. So again, from White Crane, and notice, right foot's at around the 45. Left foot, ball of the foot, and step back a little bit. Left hand up. Left leg is, oops, sorry. Let me do that again. Left leg is full. That's what was wrong. It was like tapping my left leg, and it's like, my left leg is empty. Why is my left hand up? Because you're screwing up, McElroy. Going to turn to the right, left hand up, right hand down. Left hand down, right hand up. As the right hand gets to the right leg, the right ball of the foot becomes the right heel. I turn a little bit deeper into the left side, right hand down, left hand up. It's almost like a repeat of just the sweeps in White Crane. Turning that right foot out to the 45, right hand up as I fill the right leg full, right hand to the top of the ball. And I have my Parting the Wild Horses mane. Boom. So I screwed that up so well. Let's do that again. So left leg is full. Really, it has all the weight. I'm not kidding. So that means the left hand is up, right hand is down. Notice I'm not doing this. There's a little roundness in both of those. You know, think, White Crane. Great, big, graceful, white, beautiful bird. Opening, spreading out its wings. Not doing that. Right? We want that looseness, that grace and elegance. Early on, well, not early on, but we've done an aspect of the crane frolics in one of these workshops. Over to the right, left hand up, right hand down. Coming back to the left, left hand down, right hand up. And the right hand gets to that right knee, switches to the right heel from the right ball of the foot, turning a little bit deeper into the left side. Coming back, right hand down, left hand up, filling the right foot, right hand to the top of the ball, left hand to the bottom. And in the crane frolics from the 5 animal frolics, I'm in departing wild horse's mane. Left in water tiger school world. And a little casual class. Anyway, you need to embrace the spirit in the crane, the spirit and nature of the crane, and the spirit's nature is grace and elegance. And we always say it's like it doesn't mean you have to be graceful and elegant, but you have to do your movement. You have to have a sense of feeling, a flavor of grace and elegance, and that's what you want. You want it in white crane spreads its wings. You want it throughout all of your Tai Chi. So that's all of the different parts of the sequence. I will never forget the time on the mat years and years and years and years and years ago. And some of you may, know the person who said this. I'll just use her first name since we're on this public forum. But Francesca was on the mat one night, and she said, it was the end of class. We were doing my usual anything, which is, asking for any sort of feedback whatsoever about what we're doing, or what we've been doing, or that sort of thing, or our journeys with Tai Chi. And Francesca said, sometimes you just have to take it apart to put it together. So we actually took it apart to start with. Now let's put it together and see what we got. So back and forth, whatever your space is, you can switch back and forth between the sides, and it becomes a linear walking exercise using parting wild horse's mane 3, because there are 3 of them in the 24, and white crane spreads its wings. So we're going to turn that right foot out to the 45. We're going to settle the weight into the right foot first, which is why some people will call this parting wild horse's mane right, because to begin the posture, you start with the weight in the right leg. Water Tiger School, we determine sides, left and right, by where the weight ends. Right hand to the top ball, left hand to the bottom, stepping shoulder wide. That heel sets down. Notice I'm turned in this direction as I place the foot. I'm not here placing the foot. Placing the foot because we want the turn to move the hands. Left hand up in front of the center of the chest, right hand down. Twisting, filling the left foot with the left hand at the top of the ball. That right foot comes in to the 45-degree angle. The ball of the foot rests on the ground. The uncoiling of that twist creates high press. Right heel down, left heel up, a little rotation only on the ball of the right foot. A lot of people do that and they'll twist on the ball of the left foot, sorry. And then they'll twist on the ball of the right foot. You don't want that because you want that foot at the 45. Double brush of the knee, extend the leg, white crane. Over to the left, back to the right. When the left hand gets to the left knee, the left heel drops down, pivots with me, turning in, left hand down, right hand up, pivoting out to the 45 with the left foot, left hand to the top of the ball, right hand to the bottom, step to the right. A right, parting wild horse's mane. Twisting, spiraling, coiling into the right side. Tianxi is 3-dimensional. Compressions and extensions. Tianxi, silk reeling, is 3-dimensional. Coilings, compressions and extensions. Over to the right. Left hand up, right hand down, left hand up. Coming back, right hand gets to the right knee, above it. Right heel drops down, toes pivot in. Right hand down, left hand up. Coming in, turning out the ball, the toes of that right foot as you fill the right foot, right hand to the top of the ball, left hand to the bottom. Step. I'm going to start cutting off my head here and my feet. Parting wild horse's mane. Little silk reeling, little Tianxi, little threading the 9-hole pearl over to the left. Exploding in slow motion. Up and to the right. A double brush of the knee. White crane spreads its wings. Over to the left. Left hand down, right hand up, right hand down. Coming back. When that left hand gets to that left knee, heel drops down, pivoting in to the right, right hand up, left hand down, pivoting out to the left to the 45, left hand up, right hand down, forming the ball, stepping in my shoulder width. My right toes are going to be forward. And again, notice I am facing that diagonal as I step. I'm not here and stepping. I'm here and stepping. So I can turn to fill that foot. Pivoting, forming the ball, right hand on top, left hand on bottom. Right foot is forward, toes are forward, left foot, toes are and heel are at a 45-degree angle. Pivot up and to the left, high press. Right hand, knife edge of the right hand in the crook of the left wrist, angled slightly up under my chin height. Double brush of the knee. Boom. Over to the right. Right hand up, left hand down. The right hand gets to the right knee. It drops that heel, coming back, and I am going to close. And a little rebend. So, horse's mane 3, or parting wild horse's mane 3, or the third parting wild horse's mane. But horse's mane 3 to white crane as a side-to-side walking exercise, or a two-posture. It's better to call it a two-posture walking exercise in Water Tiger School lineage because we have something else that we call a side-to-side. So you get not only to practice those tough transitions and clarity of in postures, clarity of, back here again, that basic idea of moving into your Tai Chi 4 stance, but also finding life in this, right? If I just drop the weight in there, it's very two-dimensional, it's very dead. But if I can find that Chan-Si and have that twist, placement of the foot, very important, a little proprioception and kinesthesia, separating the 2 feet, right? Another important skill that all I do is drop the heel of the right foot while I'm rotating on the ball of the left foot. If I twist on the balls of both feet, I'm going to be at the wrong angle for my white crane. Boom, that explosion. But being able to explode, right? When you feel all that compression, you're going to want to let it go like a spring. But that spring explodes very slowly. Balance, coordination, and those 3 points, that tripod moment where everything hits their end of movement at the same time, covering different distances, and then just bounces into that next thing. Not very good on spatial awareness when you keep hitting a fan over and over again. And then you also get the added bonus of messing with your mind a little bit by playing to a side that within the 24 never happens. So all sorts of meat there for the bone to really sort of play with your understanding. I mean, another reason to do this is white crane, although parting wild horse's mane is done 3 times in the 24 and then never seen again before closing, white crane only happens once. So you get an opportunity to play white crane over and over again within a walk-in exercise and play both sides. So I announced last week that we're doing a sequence. And this is it. I might come back to this because there's another version of a horse's mane white crane walking exercise that's actually a little bit easier. So I may touch base with that at some point in the future. But next week, we're going to do the same 2-week focus with brush knee 3 into playing the pei pa, playing the lute, playing the guitar. Next week, we'll introduce a couple of different ways, and there are probably more. We know 2, maybe we'll know another one before next week, of getting from brush knee 3 into pei pa. And then the week after that, we'll do the same thing with those 2 postures that we just did, with horse's mane and white crane. So doing our best to keep the content fresh every week. We might start to see some of the warm-ups we do bring back, because we tend to always do advance and retreat from the 9 temple exercises if we are doing something from the animal frolics. But I do my best to keep stuff different. And again, not a lot of original content now. We were doing original content every week on the YouTube channel, but we backed away from that a little bit. But we do have something in queue that'll probably be up in the next couple of months. Not a couple of months, couple of weeks. But there you go. Horse's mane into white crane as a walking exercise. The one thing I like about this venue, and the fact that I do not delete these, we leave them up, is that if that was not enough time with things, you can always go back and watch again from the beginning. So there you go. Wow, 45 minutes into it. This is why I usually have a little clock that I set on the table when I'm actually teaching the remote studio classes, so I can keep track of time. I purposefully don't do that with these sessions, because I don't want to get wrapped up in thinking they're too short or too long. I want them to be what they need to be without that particular judgment. But I like to keep them under an hour, and actually under 50 minutes if I can, just because of their casual nature. So, hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it challenging. Eventually it won't be, but it takes time and patience, right? With time and patience, power. With time and patience, even the mulberry leaf can turn into silk. You never remember who said that. I always think it's one person, and it's always someone else. So maybe we'll post in the comments the source of that quote once the video uploads. So thank you all. I know, for instance, there were no deaths in New York City yesterday, that the virus counts are dropping on Long Island, and for the most part, things are reopening. But the reason that that's happening is people are maintaining physical distance. People, for the most part, are wearing their masks. And for the most part, when they when they only leave home when they have to. So I urge you, be you in anywhere within the state of New York, on Long Island, anywhere within the United States, that you do those things. Pay attention to the health professionals and the medical professionals, and we will eventually see the other side of this. So thank you all very much. Talk to you again in a week. Remember, we're here almost every Monday. I am going to take a holiday in August. We hope to travel, but we may not be able to. But even if we end up not traveling, I'm still going to take the week off, because I find myself in these times of home isolation actually doing more stuff than I did before home isolation. So I need a break. And that'll be August 15th through the 22nd. But anyway, so there you go. Probably shouldn't have said that on Facebook Live. We're staying at home. And where is the in button? There's the in button.